I'm so glad to be back because I am a San Franciscan, graduated from Immaculate Conception Academy, taught by the Dominicans, a cradle Catholic, and I am home. So it is very, very nice to be with you. 52 years ago, a group of prophetic, ambitious, bold Catholic sisters formed Network. These women, many of who were teachers, were social workers, were working with communities, said if we are going to make change, it must be structural change, and that begins with the law. We are here today after a very, very long trip across the country, beginning in Philadelphia, the city of sisterly and brotherly love, and are ending our tour right now in the great city of St. Francis, and so happy to be here with you. This election season has become synonymous with division and exhaustion. But the good news we are here to share is that we have met so many kindred spirits working across the country to bring hope and healing in every season. Why some politicians feed into despair and spread hate and try to build power for the ultra wealthy, we, my sisters on the bus, are here to say absolutely not. We say no to exclusion driven by greed. We say no to exclusion driven by fear of the other. We say no to exclusion driven by racism, and we say no to exclusion driven by homophobia and transphobia. Our sacred mission is to remind voters of the gospel truth, that all people are made in the image of the divine and deserve the right to live free and thrive with no exceptions. My friends, freedom is on the ballot this year. The freedom to be healthy, the freedom to care for ourselves and our families, the freedom to live free of harm, the freedom to live in welcoming communities, the freedom to live on a healthy planet, and indeed, the freedom to live in a vibrant democracy. That is why we Catholics and those of faith must be multi-issue voters, because we all live multi-issue lives. My friends, together we can vote our future. We can, let's just say, we can build beloved community where all thrive with no exception. So without further ado, it is my greatest pleasure to introduce one of my closest sister friends. I have had the pleasure to work with Sister Rochelle on Capitol Hill for many, many years. There are members of Congress that would see her coming down the hall and be fearful because she was not afraid to speak truth to power. And my friends, that is the gospel truth. So without further ado, Sister Rochelle.
Thank you, Laura. It's great to be here with you in San Francisco. My name is Sister Rochelle Friedman. I'm a sister of the presentation from Dubuque, Iowa. My cousins' presentations from San Francisco are here. Thank you. I want to give you a sense of our time on the bus. It's truly been a pilgrimage of faith and hope. The Nuns and Friends on the Bus journey began 3 weeks ago in Philadelphia. My sisters here and friends began the third leg of the journey a week ago in Tucson, and it has been amazing. Our theme, Vote Our Future, based on values we hold, because we believe that if we do, everyone will thrive. We are urging those we meet on all of our stops to be multi-issue voters, to vote for candidates who will promote the common good. This means advocating for elected officials who support policies that will give everyone the freedoms to thrive. An affordable and safe place to live, food, health care, child care, the child tax credit, a living wage, a fair tax system, clean air and water, and the freedom to participate in our democracy. Like many of you, I learned what radical hospitality is at home from my parents, and we know it when we see it, and we saw it over and over again and again on our journey, beginning with the sisters and their colleagues at the Keno Border Initiative in Nogales, Arizona, who welcomed us, and every day who feed and welcome immigrants. We saw it in the respect for those they serve shown by the staff who work at 3 Square in Las Vegas, providing meals for seniors, children, and families who otherwise would go hungry. We experienced hospitality from those who came to the town halls and community center to welcome us, and from the staff at the Cesar Chavez Monument, who continue to educate and advocate on behalf of farm workers. Hospitality and respect are the hallmarks of the housing and services provided at St. Francis Center in Redwood and Mission Action right here in San Francisco. The motto at St. Francis Center is compassion without judgment. The St. Francis Center began 20 years ago and totally transformed a neighborhood with a school, affordable housing, a youth center, a community garden, and food and clothes shops. Their next project is a playground. A young man, Aldo, graduated from St. Francis, and he shared that as a 5th grader, Sister Christina took him to the county council, and he was given a speaking role advocating for funding for one of the projects at the center. Having worked 33 years on political advocacy in Washington, I was impressed. Wow, a 5th grader doing political ministry. Many of us have teaching backgrounds. The rally at Notre Dame High School in San Jose was so inspiring. The inscription outside of the building reads, Center for Women's Leadership. The students are learning the importance of taking serious Matthew's gospel to feed the hungry, to give drink, to shelter, to welcome the immigrant, and they are coupling service with doing advocacy. Great work is being done, and we want to shine a light on that work. And we know that there's so much more that still needs to be done. We experienced the stark reality at the border in Nogales, where immigrants are not welcomed by too many in our country and are, in fact, lied to and disrespected by some border agents. One mother's backpack with life-saving medicine for her 10-month-old child was confiscated and thrown away. Fortunately, the staff at Keno were able to find replacement meds. We know that big conglomerates who never see migrants toiling in the fields doing backbreaking work still do not provide farm workers with just wages and humane living conditions. We know that affordable housing is needed virtually everywhere in our country. And despite the tremendous work done, for example, at 3 Square in Las Vegas, food insecurity there and elsewhere are increasing. We know that change can happen if we elect legislators with the political will to allocate the resources needed and adopt policies that provide people with the freedoms to thrive. Political ministry, the advocacy we do, is of paramount importance. We have 2.5 weeks until the election. Thanks to all of you for your work to save our democracy and help families thrive. Because we know if we vote our future, everyone thrives, no exceptions. If we vote our future, everyone thrives, no exceptions. And now I'd like to introduce Diana Martin, Catholic Climate Covenant.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction, Sister Rochelle, and for having me here today. It's an honor to be here. My name's Diana Marin. I work with Catholic Climate Covenant as the Young Adult Mobilization Program Manager. I want to tell you about 2 young adult climate activists that I've gotten the chance to know, Emily and Henry. 2.5 years ago, when they were students at Creighton University, Emily and Henry had a virtual audience with Pope Francis. And in that meeting, they shared what was most troubling their hearts, the climate crisis and their disillusionment over the U.S. Church's response. They said, quote, "The issue of climate change is the issue that profoundly worries our generation. Our generation values authenticity and deplores hypocrisy. U.S. Catholic leaders' failure to share and enact the Church's own climate teachings is disillusioning young people. And the similar failure among political leaders sows doubt and cynicism among us. Emily and Henry aren't alone. Young people are concerned about the climate crisis. They're looking for leadership from our public officials, and their eco-anxiety is taking a toll on mental health. In a recent study of 16,000 U.S. Gen Zers published by the Lancet Planetary Health this year said that many Gen Zers are that climate change is impacting their mental health. And in California, that statistic is around 46%. A majority of young people say that climate change is influencing their future planning, including their career choices, where they live, and their decision about having children. This distress about the climate crisis goes across the political spectrum, including Democrats, Republicans, and independents and others. There's widespread desire among young people of all political identifications for bolder action from the U.S. government and corporations to address the climate crisis, and disappointment in the response so far. And Catholic youth are particularly concerned about this issue. 74% of Catholic youth ages 13 to 25 identified environmental causes as an issue they are concerned about. So back to Emily and Henry. Following their meeting with Pope Francis, they brought their concern and their fire to act from their faith to Catholic Climate Covenant. They not only developed resources that educate around climate action, but also established nationwide advocacy efforts that have mobilized hundreds. I've gotten a chance to work alongside Emily and Henry and other young adults who are catalyzed by their climate distress, by their desire for church and political leadership, and that addresses the climate crisis. And most importantly, they're catalyzed by the hope that we can address the effects of climate change and live on a healthy planet. The work of Catholic Climate Covenant is to inspire and mobilize the U.S. Catholic community to care for creation and achieve climate justice through the lens of integral ecology. Through our youth and young adult programming, our advocacy, education, and outreach, and collaboration with partner organizations, we uplift the importance of each of us being stewards of creation. It's meaningful for me to be doing this work of climate action here in San Francisco, and to be speaking to you all today from the marina on this beautiful San Francisco day. Yes. San Francisco is well known for our progressive environmental policies, and we're a model for other urban centers. We've been a leader in waste reduction, pioneering efforts to achieve zero waste by implementing aggressive recycling and composting programs. We were one of the first U.S. cities to ban plastics, which we did in 2007. Yeah, and styrofoam in 2016. We also prioritize sustainable energy and have a plan to achieve 100% renewable electricity by 2030. Yeah, it's this type of action that supports our freedom to live on a healthy planet. And we need more of this action. We need to invest in a sustainable future instead of fossil fuel corporations. We need to ensure clean air and water for everyone. And now, less than 3 weeks from the election, I believe together we can and will elect leaders who care about our futures, who understand Emily and Henry's and so many young people's climate anxiety, and who will respond with meaningful action, who will end tax subsidies to fossil fuel corporations and oil and gas leases on federal public lands. We will ensure that our elected officials resist repeated threats by the GOP House majority to unravel the Biden administration's progress in making our country more sustainable. We will elect leaders who will strengthen renewable energy industries and jobs so that we can become a responsible, sustainable economy that is just, that honors the dignity of creation and meets our needs today and in the future. In ending, I want to uplift Pope Francis's words about the sanctity of this path we are walking as advocates for justice and siblings among each other and with all of creation. He wrote, "Everything is related, and we human beings are united as brothers and sisters on a wonderful pilgrimage, woven together by the love God has for each of his creatures, and which also unites us in fond affection with brother sun, sister moon, brother river, and mother earth. Amen." Thank you. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Evelyn Ivadan Rodriguez from USF to come speak.
Thank you, Liana. Good afternoon, everyone. Aloha. Yes. My name is Evelyn Rodriguez, and I am the proud Honolulu-born daughter of immigrants from the Philippines. And I was raised during a time when my Navy chief father and my homemaker turned factory worker turned retail worker mother could reliably count on the public schools they sent me to, from kindergarten all the way up to my PhD at Cal, to provide me with the educators and the education that would launch me into my now over 20-year career as a professor at the first private school I've ever belonged to, the University of San Francisco. This last fact is why I think today's event organizers invited me to speak today about what a thriving community looks like at USF. I believe they thought I could help us connect what it means to flourish as a community to their 6 large issue areas. But if you showed up today, if you know who Nuns on the Bus are, I don't need to tell you that. You, more likely than not, already understand that when God designed this beautiful and elegant universe, she recognized that it is not good for man to be alone. So this group does not need to be convinced that we've been brought into this world to serve and to delight one another, and to work together as stewards of this lavish and wondrous world that is our home. This, by the way, is baked into USF's mission, which declares that we empower and hold accountable ourselves to be persons for and with others, to care for our common home, including the native lands on which our campuses reside, and to promote the common good by critically, thoughtfully, and innovatively addressing inequalities to create a more humane and just world. So I've been wondering, what can I share with you that you don't already know? What do I yearn to hear 17 days from this election? Why did I want to show up today? Searching myself, I realized I'm here because I am seeking hope. I am here because I'm inspired by the nuns on the bus and their courage and their resilience and their audacity. By the way, these are all the same reasons why I keep showing up in my classroom to teach. So here is my message today. 2024 can be more than just not the worst case scenario. 2024 can be magnificent. But this won't simply happen because of the divine or fate. It will happen because all who are privileged and qualified will exercise our freedom and responsibility to vote. And to vote in ways that honor the sacred truth that individuals thrive when our society and world are healthy and robust enough to enable all of us to flourish in ways that God dreams for us. It will happen because each of us can model a little of the nuns on the bus's pluck to engage with civility, not just people like us, but especially with people not like us. People who might be considering voting for candidates and issues that we might view as harmful. And if we can engage in ways that make these folks feel genuinely seen and heard, then we might play some small part in opening hearts to reevaluating how they're approaching this election and how they can use their power to vote to help build a society where everyone feels seen and heard. This election can still be magnificent because each of us know deeply that democracy isn't just something we have, it is something we do. So we can be the loving spokespeople, those who are considering sitting this election out and not voting need to encounter. We can remind them that democracy is too hard-fought a gift to take for granted. That countless immigrants, including the ones that Sister Rochelle spoke about today, including my parents, sacrificed being separated from everything they've known to raise their children in a land where we can shape our own futures. We can remind them that within our or our parents or our grandparents' lifetimes, good people put their safety and their lives on the line to ensure that people like me, women, and people of color can cast a ballot and have the right to express our values and have our voices heard. We can remind them that freedom fighters all over the world today could never imagine disempowering themselves by choosing not to vote. This election can be magnificent. We can be magnificent because if we use our hope to fuel our action, if we collectively get this right, we will be able to say we were part of that set of angels who enabled the world that we envision, one rooted in justice, mercy, and the common good, to continue under the first female president of the United States of America. So as we look ahead to this election, let's do what USF proclaims is every community member's charge. Let's change the world from here. Let's show up, vote, and stand up for our beloved community and for generations to come who deserve the right to carry on the work of protecting and uplifting each other and this exquisite planet. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Raul from Dignity SF.
Good afternoon. I am Raul Salazar, a longtime member and current co-chair of Dignity San Francisco. Our organization is a chapter of the world's oldest organization of Catholics working for justice, equality, and full inclusion of LGBTQ plus people in our church and the larger society. Thank you. We are honored to stand with Network's Nuns on the Bus Vote Our Future project as it concludes its nationwide tour today. We believe that all people should be free from harm and that we need to elect leaders who are committed to all people's dignity and human rights. This includes immigrants, people of every race, ethnic background, creed, or belief system, gender identity, sexual orientation, ability, age, health status, and other identities. This commitment is important in how I will vote in the upcoming election, and I believe it is important to you as well. Our laws and our social practices must protect all people. We must all be free from violence, hate speech, and discrimination. We must all have access to safe housing, good education, clean air and clean water, and the ability to support ourselves and our families. We all need to be assured that an illness or tragedy will not put us out in the streets. We all deserve health care that is driven by the best science, not prejudice or the beliefs of a minority. We know Thank you. We know that in this election, there are some who are trying to divide us, to frighten us into believing that our country cannot or should not support all people. Today, I am asking you to remember that all human beings have the same dignity. This is not diminished because someone was born in a different country, is gay or transgender, needs reproductive health services, has challenges that need some accommodation, or for any other reason. Today, and as we vote, I ask you to take this conviction seriously and vote for candidates who will work to make our country one where all people are free from harm. Vote for a future. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce Sister Patsy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sister Patsy Harney, and I'm a proud Sister of Mercy. I've served in this congregation for over 60 years, and for the past 34 years, I have worked with Mercy Housing. As a native of the Bay Area, born and raised here, now living in San Francisco, I continue to call this place home. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Mercy Housing. I usually, when I speak on Mercy Housing, because I come from resident services, I tend to give a more impressionistic view of the organization. But since my topic is needs, Bay Area needs, I'm going to have to be a little bit more accurate and precise. So I hope I don't get too boring. Mercy Housing is a national nonprofit dedicated to creating and managing affordable housing with on-site services for low-income families, seniors, and individuals with special needs, including those who were formerly unhoused. We operate in 21 states, providing homes for over 45,000 residents across 342 properties. Additionally, our Mercy Community Capital Division, a community development financial institution, which is a mouthful, but it provides flexible funding to other nonprofits and developers for affordable housing and community infrastructure. And so we lend money to other nonprofits across the United States to work on their projects. And in this way, we've really supported other parts of the United States. Mercy Housing was founded in Nebraska by the Sisters of Mercy in 1981. Over time, other congregations of women religious, that is more commonly known as nuns, not only offered financial sponsorship, but preserving and advancing our mission. And some of those congregations are here today. Here in California, Mercy Housing is the largest regional branch of Mercy Housing, Inc. We own and manage over 11,000 affordable homes across 159 properties in California. Over half of these properties, 54%, are right here in the Bay Area. In San Francisco alone, we operate more than 45 apartment complexes. So as you can see, we've grown a lot from those early days in Nebraska, where we had 310 units. I was asked to speak today about housing needs in Bay Area. For over 3 decades, I've been involved in various aspects of our work, particularly resident services. Today, I'm semi-retired, focusing on community outreach in the Visitation Valley, Sunnydale neighborhood of San Francisco. This is a neighborhood that's been forgotten and neglected for many years, and Mercy Housing is focusing on transforming the Sunnydale Public Housing Project. As many of you know, homelessness is a crisis nationwide, but in California, and especially in the Bay Area, this crisis is more severe due to the skyrocketing cost of living. On any given night, 36,000 Bay Area residents are living on the street. Many more, are insecurely housed, constantly fearing a medical emergency or job loss could leave them homeless. Bay Area rents, as you well know, are the highest in the nation. A staggering 80% of renters are earning less than half of the area median income and spend more than 30% of their income on housing. That means that they have to cut back on other essential costs. These households, often headed by single parents or seniors, are living in substandard conditions. At the same time, government rental subsidies reach fewer than 20% of the nation's extremely low-income households. And those dollars don't, 20% of those dollars don't go very far. Compare this to the $25 billion mortgage interest deduction subsidy, which primarily benefits households earning over $100,000 per year. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Some of you may have seen on Facebook or other social media an estimate of what it would cost if you worked a minimum wage and were trying to rent an apartment in San Francisco or the Bay Area. So to rent with a minimum wage, a one-bedroom apartment, it would take 116 hours per week to be able to rent an apartment in San Francisco, and 127 hours a week if you wanted to live in San Mateo County. So it's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? How is the Bay Area addressing these needs? California requires that local governments plan to meet the housing needs of all residents. Through the Regional Housing Needs Determination and Allocation process, we know that by 2031, and prepare yourself for this big number, the Bay Area must plan for 441,176 new homes. Right now, around 40,000 are in pre-development in the Bay Area, which means funding is still needed to break ground. It is estimated that an additional $9.7 billion, that's B, is necessary to move this housing pipeline forward. One major initiative to address this is the Bay Area Housing Finance Authority's proposed $20 billion regional bond. Watch for this on, you California residents, watch for this on the ballots at some point. But funding alone is not enough. To truly address homelessness, we need a multifaceted approach, one that includes mental health services, substance abuse treatment, rental assistance programs, and more affordable housing development. As Doug Shoemaker, our recently retired president of Mercy Housing, said, one of the greatest challenges is to continuously reappraise the dynamic nature of homelessness in California. Ending homelessness is as much about preventing people from becoming homeless, this is one of my favorite issues, as it is about providing exits from homelessness. We don't need any more people on the streets. We need to keep them from going off the streets. We need to approach this issue differently for various populations. People who have been chronically homeless may need different resources than families at risk of homelessness due to income instability or other factors. Our efforts should focus on rental assistance, mental health services, livable wages, and targeted support like down payment assistance and rent control measures. There are several critical measures on the ballot this November that could impact the future of housing in California. One is California State Proposition 5. This measure would lower approval threshold for affordable housing bonds from 66.67% to 55%, making it easier to invest in housing infrastructure and emergency services. And that percentage is the same as measures that fund schools. The second one, the California State Proposition 33, this proposition would allocate governments to expand rent control by repealing Costa-Hawkins Act, enabling cities and counties to regulate rent increases even when a new renter moves in. This one is a little more complicated, so it requires extra study. And then San Francisco Proposition G, this proposition would create $8 million fund to subsidize housing for extremely low-income seniors, families, and peoples with disabilities earning at or below 30% of area median income, helping to prevent homelessness in our most vulnerable communities. These measures deserve careful consideration as we work together to address this crisis. These are some of the challenges that we must address to meet the needs for housing here in the Bay Area. I have mentioned some solutions, and there are many more that could be considered. It would take all of us citizens, nonprofits, government, business, faith leaders, and nuns to continue to work together on strategies and solutions that will provide stable, affordable housing for Californians and to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-reoccurring.
Hello all. My name is Kim Tavoloni, and I am the Executive Director of the San Francisco Labor Council. We represent over 100,000 working families here in San Francisco alone. We polled our members. We discussed the issues with our members. Our members are very clear on where they stand. In fact, unions across the country are really clear on where we stand and what we stand for. We believe that all working people deserve a living wage. Here in San Francisco, the sister just spoke about the high cost of housing, but when you add in childcare, which is about $3,500 a month, one-bedroom apartment, $3,500 a month. Without food, you already have to take home $7,000 a month just to live in this expensive city. So we are demanding that a serious investment happen in housing here for working people and for all those who are unhoused. That's the only way we're going to get out of this. And we can no longer point the finger at folks who are not just like us. They are part of the community. And when we say no, when the sisters say no exceptions, we believe that there should be no exceptions. No exceptions. Everybody deserves a house. Everybody deserves a good education. Everyone deserves child care. Everyone deserves health care and mental health care. We have workers across the city who are on strike right now. The hotel workers. The hotel workers are on strike. They're wrapping up their third week of strike, entering their fourth week of strike. And all we hear is like, well, the hotels aren't making money. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are. It's a shell game. So if anyone's ever been to Central Park and you play the shell game, like, can you guess where the little nut is? Yeah, it's a shell game. So real estate companies, like, sell this property back and forth to cover up, but they're all making money. The only ones who aren't making money are the workers. And they're trying to take away their health care in the most insidious way. People who have worked there for 20 years are being told, like, yeah, we don't want to pay for your health care anymore. It's too expensive. Well, the workers are standing up. And we're standing up stronger than ever because we're going to beat back these real estate investment firms that are stealing the property from the hotels and not allowing the workers to do what they do best. Hotel workers are critical to the economy here in San Francisco, and if you don't stand with the workers, you really don't support the San Francisco community. We also have other strikes that are happening throughout the city. We have the workers at the courts. We've had, most recently, even the chorus at the San Francisco Symphony went out on strike recently. We represent all types of workers, and all types of workers are struggling. But it's not enough to just say you're struggling. This is the time to do something. And I really want to urge people, don't get discouraged. One party is out there to try to make you feel hopeless. One party is trying to beat down every dream, every hope you have. I'm inspired by all the young people over here. The fact that you're here and you're listening to all this, I think it's fantastic. When I was 16, probably somewhat close to your age, I ran my first phone bank for a campaign. And we won. And the bug bit me, and I was so excited. Started knocking on doors, talking to people, finding out what their interests were, finding out what got them going. And I urge you to ask yourselves that. What's important to you? Because you do hold our future. You hold my future in your hands. And I'm going to challenge all young people to get involved in elections. It's never too soon. I knocked on my first door when I was 5 years old. My father brought me kicking and screaming, but then I got the hang of it and I enjoyed it. And everyone was always nice to me. When they saw that I was knocking on the door, people didn't run. People came to the door. Yeah. So you're never too young not to get involved, and I urge you to get involved. Labor needs you to get involved. We want you to organize. We're organizing Starbucks workers across the country. They're going to get their first contract. It's important. We represent camera folks and all sorts of folks. So I urge you, IATSE in the house, urge you to get involved in your community, get involved in your labor unions, get involved because, once you're involved, you'll find out that when people say, it's hopeless, no, it's not. As long as I have breath in my body, it's never going to be hopeless. Amen. And I know I can beat them. And I know you can beat them because as long as you're breathing, as long as you can pick up a phone, you can make the difference. You can inspire someone to be better than they are right this moment and have them get the bug. Tomorrow I'm taking a bus of 50 people to Reno to go knock on doors. Because we don't agonize, we organize, and we knock on doors, and we talk to people. So please do get involved. Don't lose hope. We're in the last few weeks here, and there's always a chance to get involved. Please do your research. Make sure you vote on all these issues. These issues are important to every working person, and if they vote all these issues, we know we're going to win in November. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Bring them up.
Come on, people. Come on. Let's get it here. Come on.
And then I want to introduce Anna Garcia.
I can introduce myself. Come on, you guys, take the podium, take the mic. Let's go. Voting for what? Come on. You want to lead us?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, you need the other. Can I get the issue? Can I get the issue plaque? Where do you want me to be? Right here, in front of her. She's gonna lead us, and we all gonna say she's gonna lead us. Voting for what? And we're taking the first one, the second one. You guys, like, you mean it, right? Now, this issue important to you guys? Yes. It's gonna be your future. Okay, so get us going.
We vote for.
Healthcare.
We vote for.
I can hear you.
We vote for. We vote for.
Justice.
We vote for.
Housing.
We vote for.
Racial justice.
Keep going.
We vote for.
Healthcare.
We vote for.
Living wages.
We vote for.
Democracy.
We vote for.
Climate justice.
We vote for.
Housing.
We vote for.
Racial justice.
Yeah. Now I want you guys to close your eyes and imagine this. I want you to close your eyes and imagine this. Those issues are important, right? Those issues are important. And I represent the Gamaliel Network, so I see my board president, I see my organizer, I see my Stockton people, and those issues are important. Now I want you to close your eyes and imagine this, okay? You are living in a community. You are living in a country, you're contributing, right? And you want these issues to be important to you. Imagine that you are with your family and your brothers and your sisters, and all of a sudden, the military shows up to your house, and it drags all of you, and it picks all of you, and it takes you to take you out, to deport you, to take you to a country that you don't even live in. So they take you to the border. They take you to this border, and then an authoritarian dictator of 30 years gives the order to that military to open fire on you, your family, and everybody you know. This is what happened to the Haitian in the Dominican Republic. This was real. Young people, this is what we are voting for. We are voting for democracy. We're voting to say, this is a playbook. I'm 66 years old, and I'm from the Dominican Republic. And I know that Haitians were made a scapegoat so a dictator can stay in power for 30 years, and hundreds of innocent children, women, men were slaughtered because he demonized them so he can stay in power. That is what an authoritarian dictator, that's what they do. So this is not new that we're demonizing a culture, that we're demonizing a people. So what we are fighting for is democracy. Without democracy, can we solve this issue if we don't have a voice, if we have a dictator, if we don't have a democracy? Can we do anything that we need to do for our family and our community? Can we do it? No. Can we do it? No. So when you hear people like me, organizers like me, organizations like the Sisters saying we're fighting for democracy, this is what we're fighting for. So I want you to go back to your high school, to go back to your community, to go back to your friend and say, Mom and Dad and Uncle and friend and everybody, and say, we are fighting for what? Democracy. We are fighting for what? Democracy. We are fighting for what? Democracy. And bottom line, we are fighting for your future. For your future, because it's worth fighting for. Now look at your neighbor. Look, isn't it worth fighting for their future? Isn't it worth fighting for their future? So this is what's on the line on November 5th. Their future is on the line on November 5th. Everyone thrives, no exception. No exception. And we cannot bring in, this is why I'm here in the United States of America, because I was looking for what? A future. My parents were looking for what? They were looking for democracy. They were looking for education for me. And so we cannot fool ourselves that November 5th and that this election is about anything but. It's not about invasion from the border. It's not about all the distraction that they want to tell us. It's about their future. Yes, it is. It's about their future. So I joined Nuns on the bus, and when I saw these young people, I said, you know what? This fight is worth fighting. Amen. And the sacrifice of living on that bus, and yes, we could not use the bathroom, but and living in that bus, it's worth it. And I saw young people like yourself in Nogales on the other side of the fence trying to touch their relative through this mesh, through this fence, and saying, we haven't touched, we haven't hugged our parents, our relative for years. So I just want to make this real. I just want to make this real. That when these are not slogans, being a multi-issue voter Catholic is not a slogan, right? So we have to understand, and I'm glad that they outnumber us. If we would have started early, then they would have, because we lost about half of you, right? Because you outnumber us. And it makes it very clear. So I just want to make sure that you know why the Nuns on the Bus and Friends has spanned from Philadelphia to San Francisco, why this is important. This is about values. This is about faith. This is about young people. This is clearly about democracy. So I want you to leave here energized, excited. I want you to see these faces when you get worried, when you don't want to knock on another door, when you don't want to get on another bus, when you don't want to make another call. Please remember their faces. Remember their faces. Okay? So I'm Ana Garcia Ashley, Executive Director of the Gamaliel Network, and I have been so energized on this bus, and I am so proud of all the young people that took the time to come here. And yesterday we had hundreds and hundreds of them at Notre Dame San Jose, and those young people, they make me proud to be a Catholic, to be a person of faith, to be an organizer, and they were very clear about the environment, and they were very clear about housing, they were very clear about all the issues. Let me tell you, they are listening. They are smart. They know what we need. And so maybe, how many of you guys cannot vote yet, right? You can vote, so we have one. So that means that if you cannot vote, you have to get 10 people. Is that good? 10 people. So let's make sure that on November 6th, we are not regretting, but on November 6th, we begin to build a future for our powerful young people. Thank you very much.
Let us give a huge round of applause for our speakers and our riders. I am Sister Eilish McCullough. I'm a sister of the Humility of Mary, and I serve at Network on our grassroots mobilization team. This year, we are Nuns on the Bus and Friends. We are sisters and faith leaders. We represent advocacy organizations across the country. We represent multiple faith traditions. And we have traveled across this country and met all of you, met our friends, met our companions on this journey of justice, where we are ensuring that we all have the freedom to live in a vibrant democracy, that we all have the freedom to live in a welcoming community where we are free from harm, and that we all have the freedom to care for ourselves and our families. Where we will be able to access health care that we need, and food and housing. As Sister Mumbi reminded us at La Flor de Michoacán in Phoenix, we were designed for relationship, and that is what this bus is all about. building relationships, crossing divides, and being inspired and empowered by the prophetic work our neighbors are doing across this country. This is the way forward, and this is the way that we can truly be faith-based advocates in communion and community with one another. And now I will turn it back to Laura.
Thank you. Thank you. My friends, I do not want to end without being in prayer, so I'm going to ask everybody to move in. I'm going to ask everybody to come on in. Yes, even the high school kids, of whom we are going to be praying for in terms of our future. All right, so come right in. Anna, can you come up too? Where'd you go? So, my friends, as Anna has told us, we are living in sacred times. We are living in times where we have a choice. We have a choice to fight for human dignity. We have a choice to recognize the very, very dangerous world we could wake up to after Election Day, where some of us are left out, left behind, left alone. As Catholics and as people of faith, we know that that is a sin. We know that our God is a great God. Our God is a God of blessings and of love and of solidarity. As a woman of the church, we know that it was the women who received the message of the resurrection, my friends. It was us. And as women, we know we do not leave a foot of a cross. So, my friends, I ask us all to be together today, to look forward with faith first of all, in the young people that are standing behind us. I ask that we have faith in each other, because we must be community, regardless of whether or not we agree on every single issue. We must be community. The call is to be family. The call is a divine call. So let us recognize the sacred in each of us. Let us hold hands. Let us roll up our sleeves. As our union organizer reminds us, let's knock on some doors. Let's get some work done. And dear God, we ask you, as always, in your most gracious, loving, and holy name. Can the people say amen?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Don't forget, Nuns on the Bus. Right now, we are voting our future. We are going to build our future come November 7th. Please join us. Thank you.
And sign the bus. Sign the bus.
My friends, the sacrament of signing the bus is upon us.